Today was a very long practice session. They went to about a quarter to 12.
We had lunch. We were coming out of the lunchroom. Sean McDermott was walking in, and we complained about how long practice was for us.
We didn't complain. He looked at us. He goes, "Come on, aren't you guys going to even sweat?" I said, "Coach, I will have you know, we had to stand out there for over 2 hours today and watch practice."
Let me tell you
something.
something.
Can you talk to the guy that decides how long this is?
I had to slide in my chair to get back into the shade because the shade left. They were out there so long.
So, you know,
gracious.
I don't know what he's talking. We're doing our part around here.
Wow, right.
In any event,
I'll tell you what, it was a long practice.
It was a long session.
It was a long one, and it was the first time I've seen a fight.
Yeah, there's a little scrap after the play. Spencer Brown involved.
It doesn't really count as a fight.
Yeah, it was a little tussle.
But that's the first one I've seen.
Pushing and shoving.
First one I've seen.
Grabbing people's helmets, ripping them off people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the other people got in there and
yeah, it was good.
Cooler heads prevailed.
You know it was going to be that early in practice they had some one-on-one blitz pickup for the backs and the tight ends.
Yeah.
With the linebackers and safeties coming off the edge or coming up through the A-gap as well. All of that stuff. And you could tell it was one of those practices because, you know, one guy wins and then, you know, place goes nuts. And then the next rep, it's like, it's on, bro sleeve. Let's
turned
go.
Up about 2 notches.
Yeah. It was fun.
James Cook had a really good pass protection
did.
Rep in there. I was waiting for him to rotate through again, but he didn't because I think the segment got shortened, the time got shortened or something for that segment of practice. He was getting pats on the back because he just locked in there against the linebacker and held his ground, which I don't think many people looking at him think he's capable of doing. I've heard some criticism amongst the media. James can stand in there, man. So he's getting good coaching, and I think he's better at it than he was last year. And you know that Ken Dorsey has plans to have him be a 3-down back. So that's going to have to be in his tool chest if he wants to stay on the field. Otherwise, they'll have to split him out wide and put somebody like Latavius Murray or Damian Harris in the backfield.
Yeah, or Dawson Knox or somebody, you know, a big body. Who knows? But long practice, in my view, because I was out of town for the weekend, but in my view, is the most physical practice I've seen in a while. Multiple periods in this practice, they were banging hard, and guys were going to the ground. You know, you're not supposed to really, even when they're going live, really not taking anybody to the ground. A lot of guys were on the ground today, and it was ratcheted up. And they know, too, I think they get a day off tomorrow, so there's a little bit of that going on.
That's why it went long, yeah.
And it was fun practice to be at, and it was different. It was really different.
Practice on Friday night got pretty intense when they had short yardage for 12 plays and then went goal line for 11 right after that. So that was pretty heated. Just to kind of recap, last Friday, the return of the blue and red practice / scrimmage, the defense had the better of the play on that night, dominating the line of scrimmage and also great in pass coverage.
Right.
The offensive units, all three of them, had difficulty moving the football to even get a first down. So when they went into team sessions, I was taken aback by how much they struggled to move the sticks. I don't know if the defense just came to play, but they were bowing up people, and they looked really good. That defensive front is going to be a problem. And that's without Von Miller back and no Jordan Phillips, at least at that time last Friday. So you had those two guys.
Poona Ford, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, Ed Oliver.
Yeah. Poona Ford and Daquan Jones stood out to me on Friday night.
Yes. They seem to be a really good combination to me.
And I think those will be two guys that will definitely be in there in goal line situations this season just because both of them are hard to move. You can't move them.
Yeah.
So that'll be a nice little tandem on the defensive interior, when they get into goal line type situations. And then Sunday, Christian Benford had not really flashed at all through the course of training camp, and it looked like he was falling a little behind Dane Jackson and Kyer Elam, who by most accounts, including mine, were neck and neck. And all Christian Benford does is make 2 picks in practice yesterday, and then makes another one today on a miscommunication during a 2-minute drill at the end of practice today. So, and he was getting some first-team reps as a reward for that to boot. So suddenly, a cornerback 2 competition that you kind of thought maybe going into the first preseason game might be down to 2 candidates, still has 3, very much in the mix here. It's going to be very interesting to see how they whittle that down to 2, let alone 1.
It seems simple, but it makes an enormous difference, and I've never seen or heard about a team doing it like the Bills do it, with the way they rotate guys up and down the depth chart. It moves constantly. I remember back in the day, it never happened. Only until somebody went down with a broken femur did you actually get a change in the depth chart. But now you've got, when a guy flashes up, they let him keep it rolling. See if he can stack those days on top of each other. That's what happened to Benford last year when he started stacking days and stacking reps. And all of a sudden he goes from the 6th round pick to a guy we couldn't even pick out of a lineup to the opening day starter, ahead of Kaiir Elam even. I have always been really impressed by Sean McDermott's ability just to be disciplined and keep doing that. They once you get your roster filled out, coaches fall in love with guys. Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, all these guys. They go down the list. Josh, Tre'Davious, Steph, Poyer and High. You get these guys that are the core group, and you really, it's hard not to just say, he's our guy, we're not going to, But when they start letting guys filter in there, say, because, hey, the guy's playing well, we got to give him a chance, that the rest of the roster is absolutely on fire to keep producing and get on the field, because they know when they do flash, they're going to get a chance to. I can't put into words how unbelievable that is for a coaching staff to have the wherewithal to do that, and the alertness and the communication between the position coaches and the coordinators and the head coach, to where they go, well, you know what, this guy's he's done this and this and this. They go, okay, give him some more. Let's see what he can do. And it sounds simple, but man, oh man, it's a complicated rotation. It's a complicated chemistry problem. But I think that, as much as anything else, is key to their player development that you've gone on and on about over the years so much, Brownie. I think it's an incredible element. You see it, I think, firsthand out here when these guys get elevated.
Meanwhile, the middle linebacker competition, for those that may not have been paying attention over the weekend, Bobby Babich, the linebackers coach, addressing the media on Sunday before practice, essentially confirmed that right now the middle linebacker competition is down to 2 candidates. Balen Spector is still in the mix, but he's kind of on the outside looking in right now, as it's down to Tyrell Dotson and Terrell Bernard, which we kind of clued people in on midweek last week when we saw Balen Spector didn't get his turn in the rotation as they were going every day. It was a new guy with the first team. Spector was pulled out of his rotational spot, and it went back to Dodson and then Bernard the next day, and they've been flip-flopping since then. And as Bobby Babich put it, it's not that Spector hasn't done anything. It's not like he's done anything wrong or underperformed. It's just that those 2 guys have been more sound in their command of the defense,
right,
and in their execution, whether it's making checks at the line or making plays themselves.
It's interesting.
They've just done more.
Right. That spot affects everybody. So it's more than just about you being able to run up and stuff the run or drop into coverage too. Everybody else's job is dependent on your ability to see it, relay it, and get the coverage in the back end meshed with the rush package up front. And everybody's got to hear you and hear your voice, and you've got to make sure it's right. So there's a lot on the plate of that middle linebacker that affects everybody else, how they play. He may be the greatest player ever, but if he's not good at that part of the game, nobody else on the defense can play. So it's critical that the guy has a little bit more in his helmet than just a thick skull. Somebody can thump people. You got to be able to get everything meshed around you, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and you can't make too many mistakes in there and have your team kind of hang in there with you.
Not practicing today, Ed Oliver, with what was described by Coach McDermott as back soreness. Wide receiver Isaiah Coulter still out with the knee injury. Cam Lewis, who suffered a groin injury in practice yesterday, and Reggie Gilliam also down with a groin injury. Jordan Phillips, who came off the PUP list on Sunday, participated in individual position drills at practice Sunday, did not do any teamwork today. He was back on the side with the strength and conditioning staff. Hopefully that is not a setback of any kind for him after getting some run yesterday. And then Deion Dawkins had a veteran rest day today, so he was not taking any reps in practice. He didn't practice at all. And that's kind of where things stand. It was nice to see wide receiver Brian Thompson get back into the practice setting. First practice back from a concussion suffered last week. So he's out of the protocol and is back practicing, albeit on a limited basis. And that's kind of where things sit in terms of who's available for practice.